Right, viewers, welcome to this fresh episode of In Conversation with Swapnil Bharali. I am visiting Upamanyu Hazarika, Gauhati LS candidate for the upcoming elections 2019. And I'll be visiting him and talking to him shortly. I'm right outside his office. Please join me in this conversation. I'll come straight to the point, Mr. Upamanyu Hazarika. Why should people vote for you? Apna kyo vote dibo lage over the other candidates? Mane baki BJP ase, Congress ase. Apna kyo vote?
It is not a question of candidates, it's a question of our interest. It is a Khilonjia Sarthot Kun ase aji. Aji Khilonjia Prokritore Nirdolia. Ami Khilonjia Khankalogo Hobolo Goyasu, we are going to turn into a minority in 20 years, 2040 bitor. That everybody agrees. But nobody is doing anything about it. Ami ki koribo lage. We have to ensure that all the 60 lakh foreigners who have got into the NRC admitted by Himanta Biswa Sharma himself, that তেওঁলোকৰ নাম কৰ্তন কৰিব লাগে আমি NRC পা কিন্তু তেওঁলোকৰ নাম কৰ্তন নকৰাকে instead of which what they are doing is their endeavor is to include more and more Bangladeshis and more foreigners. So they have accepted those 60 lakh foreigners and they want to include more, and that is the strategy of both the Congress and the BJP. Secondly, as far as, and you have seen the main reason for migration, illegal infiltration, is that they all come in quest of land, better economic opportunities. Amar yat mati, bhumi, sarkari, sakori jodi ami telokor, we can deprive them of access to such resources, as is prevalent in the other northeastern states. You have less of infiltration in Meghalaya, Arunachal, etc. Only for the reason there are local laws which protect and reserve land for the local indigenous people. So if you have a legal regime like that, which is eminently possible, which Manipur has shown the way in July 2018, then that is the manner in which you have to proceed. But
Mr. Hazarika, I'm just butting in. In an interview with me, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma koisile je it is impossible, detection is possible, it is impossible to deport. আৰু আপুনি হেতু লাগি আছে যে ডিপোর্টেশন
লাগা নাই
তেও দুটা হেৰি কয় এটা হল যে illegal migrants which are the Muslims and refugees which are the Hindu Bangladeshis.
So that's the whole problem. He makes a distinction foreigners on the basis of religion, which the people of Assam, the indigenous people of Assam don't accept, because we want no foreigners regardless of the religious affiliations. One. Two, deportation is one aspect in which I am actually not focused on, because deportation has been made virtually impossible by the earlier Congress regime.
Right.
They made the identification process also impossible. So which is why I say that when the identification process is virtually made impossible, even if you identify foreigners, they will not go. So therefore the other way is to adopt the alternative route, is to disincentivize them. So they have no reason or no hope etc. whatsoever to stay in Assam. আমি যদি তেওঁলোকক ভূমি চাকৰি বা আৰ্থিক যিখিনি সুবিধা বা তেওঁলোকক আমি বঞ্চিত কৰিব পাৰোঁ যোনখিনি উত্তৰ পূৰ্ব আন ৰাজ্যত আছে তা আমি তেওঁলোকে ইয়াত তেতিয়া আপুনি গুচি যাব এতিয়া মই উদাহৰণ দিওঁ আমি যদি অৰুণাচল আমি বান্দেৰৱালে যাওঁ বান্দেৰৱা এফালে পকালে খুৱাতে অসমৰ ফালে সকলোৱে বসবাস কৰে বাংলাদেশী আছে আমুক আছে বুজুক আছে বাফালে দিছে সকলো অৰুণাচলী মানুহ থাকে আমি এটা ডিমাপুৰতো সৰু পথাৰৰ পৰা ডিমাপুৰৰ এখন ট্ৰেইন যায় যদি বাংলাদেশী মূলৰ মানুহখিনি তাত এটা বসবাস কৰি পেলাই তেওঁলোকে ডিমাপুৰত তেওঁলোকে চাকৰি কৰিব যায় কাম কৰিব যায় দিনত কিন্তু তেওঁলোকে সৰু পথাৰ মাটি কিনিব পাৰে নাগালেণ্ড তেওঁলোকে সেটেল নকৰে তো সেইকাৰণে আমি যদি তেনেকুৱা এটা লিগেল সিস্টেম এটা কৰি দিব পাৰোঁ যোনটো আসাম এছেম্বলিয়ে কৰিব পাৰে অল এছেম্বলিজ হেভ ডান লাইকৱাইজ সো দেয়াৰ ইজ নো ৰিজন why they will stay.
তাৰমানে আপোনাৰ prime reason to become an MP is this illegal migrants issue.
Absolutely, because this is the illegal migrants issue which is of foremost and primary concern to the indigenous people. The 6-year agitation movement was on this. 3 governments have come on this. 2014 and 2016 elections have been fought on this basis. But when they find that they have failed, so they are therefore trying to divert it to developmental issues and otherwise. And the funniest part and the greatest tragedy, I will say, for the Assamese people, that the Congress today, which has pushed us into becoming a minority by virtue of the huge infiltration they encourage, by encouraging the Bangladeshi vote bank, they today try and act as guardians of indigenous people. I mean, this is the most ridiculous, the greatest farce. You have people like Torun Gogoi who have established Bangladeshis in Upper Assam because he wanted a vote bank for his son in Koliawar. Now he will do likewise for Jorhat. Tato Bangladeshi kumai dibo. Polu kotha jiman Bangladeshi ase, nomoli kora ase, joa 15-20 bisor kumale. Aile kami dekhai nasilu.
The greatest farce. That's what Hazarika sir is saying. The greatest farce. That already answers my second question actually. Moi hudibo khoisilu je apuni how differently would you work as an MP over the incumbent? Kintu apuni jothesthokini kole, would you want to add something more?
will speak for starters. She hasn't spoken. And even if you speak, it is amar gunlak ami 7 jon MP pathalu jaba BJP pra. Congress khini par they are clearly in favor of Bangladeshis and AUDF. But the BJP MPs were they came on the indigenous vote. Khilonjia voter aise tenuka amar kotha tenuka rakhibo lagise. Tenuka amar kotha na rakhile tenuke সংশোধনী বিধেয়ক they have supported CAB over there. So the whole point is amar indigenous mano that we need protection. 115 ethnic communities in Assam who comprise 2 crores need protection is the foremost agenda which I will pursue, and nobody has voiced this, and I'll give you 2 illustrations as to how the propaganda in the rest of the country is otherwise. As far as NRC is concerned, NRC was portrayed by all the national parties, and a huge agenda was propagated that we should look at the human rights of those who have not been included in the draft list.
Right.
But nobody focused on the human rights of indigenous people who these foreigners have pushed into a minority. Citizenship amendment bill. The debate nationally was, if you can if you can give citizenship to Hindus, why not to Muslims? But we don't want either Hindus or Muslims, and nobody has voiced that. So if we put it with voice, facts and figures that ethnic communities, indigenous communities survival are at stake, and which is a worldwide concern. Eta amar Tai phake ase, Tai khamiam ase. These are small Thai communities which have populations of 3 to 5 to 7,000. They have a distinct language, script, culture and everything, and they are Buddhist, some of them. So if you don't, Margherita junkhini ahile, junki mazate Bangladeshi uthaisile joa bosor, 2 bosor agote, they would have swamped these fellows. One Thai Faki would have been wiped out. And you just take an illustration of the Hindu Bangladeshi. Hindu Bangladeshi, according to Himanta Biswa Sharma, is in the region of 6 to 8 lakhs who would have been granted citizenship. Now the population of the missing community is 6 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs. So today you are bringing in another community like that which will put our survival at stake. So this is something which needs to be explained to the world and the people of India at large, that we have a very rich diversity, indigenous ethnic diversity, which needs to be protected.
Alap Guwahati loy, so because you are from Guwahati, you're contesting from the Guwahati seat. Incumbent Jijon, Bijoy Chakraborty, not in contest anymore. Kintu, how did she fare as an MP? 10 বছর থাকিলে তা আগতে ওভার আর একটা টার্ম আর 5 বছর আছিল, how has she fared as an MP?
I think she has no record on 2 points, because see, the main purpose of being an MP, or the particular vocation that an MP has, is to voice. And Guwahati is representative of the intellectual class and the entire Assam in a manner of speaking. Kino Okhomar Hokolo Manu yata protinidhitto ase. Hokolo thai pai Khilonjia manu yata bosobas kore. Shikkito manu ase. Ekhan swatantrota both eta ase. Obhigya manu ase. Teolokok kyo protibimito nokore. Jonkhini kotha somoh amar Guwahati Okhomor kotha rakhibo lagisile. Prothom obosthat teo narakhile. Dwitiyote Guwahati eta locally ba sthaniyo bhittik amar 2-3টা মান বিষয় আছে। যেনেকি আমাৰ এটা ধৰক অসমতে যোনটো বানপানী হয়, আমাৰ কোনো ধৰণে এমপিয়ে কেতিয়াও এইটো উপস্থাপন নকৰে, আমাৰ সেইটো কিয় নকৰে? কাৰণ সদায় এই বস্তুটো আমাৰ এটা নেশ্যনেল ট্ৰেজেডি, এটা সেইটো কিয় নকৰে? সেকেন্ডলি গুৱাহাটী যোনটো এটা কৃত্ৰিম পানীৰ এটা বানপানী, কৃত্ৰিম পানীৰ এটা সমস্যা আছে। কৃত্ৰিম মই দুইফালে কওঁ আৰ্টিফিচিয়েল, there is an artificial abundance in terms of floods. I mean, why does flooding have to continue for 40 years on end? Why cannot we have a discussion and initiate discussions? There are a lot of people who have come up with various solutions. Why can you not develop a general consensus that what needs to be done and how needs to be done, how the community can help and what the governments need to do, what is the costing? And the other part is the water, artificial water scarcity. It is the most ridiculous thing that you have one of the largest rivers next to you and everybody virtually has to buy water in Guwahati. Why water? Why? Because water supply is scarce, insufficient. I mean, we have all grown up in Guwahati, and we have the same old water supply we've had since the last 40 years, and the new constructions have to supplement it with boring from wells and deep tube wells. But then those deep tube wells, because the groundwater level has shrunk, so after the months when the dry season you don't get water. So why could we have not planned, or why don't we look at water, because it does not cost much when you have to treat fresh water from Brahmaputra. One, why cannot we have something which takes expansion into account? You don't have water supply schemes in Palakbari and all, because what you want to develop into a smart city. Secondly, our groundwater levels, they are declining at such a sharp rate. Now, rainwater harvesting is a very cheap, efficient mode where you can harvest and conserve water, where you can raise the groundwater level.
Sure.
That can be done at an individual level. Even as an MP, I think I can do it with the community help and participation. I don't need to go elsewhere. And the fourth most important point is, we've had huge growth. Guwahati is today the economic hub and center of the northeast. But where are the jobs? I mean, if there are jobs, they are so poorly paid. Today, you go, any graduate will not get the salary range will be between 6,000 to 12,000,
right.
and 12,000 when he's worked for 5 years. So now, if he stays in Guwahati and stays with his parents, it's only pocket money for him. He can't even get married. Let me put it that way. And if bahira pa ahe, tenokar ghar pa supplement koribo lagibo. Tenokar basor khorosor kotha ase, tenokar thokar khorosor kotha ase, khua banabo. So he like 6,000 pa 12,000 taka dorma iman kom dorma chakori pile kun thakibo paribo. I have not understood that iman jita paisa ase economic amin gaon industry hoise. এইফালে হাজোৰ ফালে হৈছে ছয়গাঁও ফালে হৈছে বকুৰ ফালে হৈছে পলাহবাৰী ফালে হৈছে where are the jobs the jobs are very poorly paid and you have personnel who are coming from outside why could we have not planned that if you are setting up an industry then there's a 3-year gestation period যদি industry এটা license এটা দিয়া পৰ production এ যাওতে তাত 3 বছৰ gestation থাকে so why can you not plan that what is the requirement technical requirement personal requirement of those companies whether they need HR people কি ধৰণৰ technician like so why could you have not trained up our boys and girls for it and when the companies coming from outside would have been happier for a very simple reason because you know they'll save money say getting someone from Andhra Pradesh they'll have to pay him a higher salary say 40,000 on that's something but যদি পলাহবাৰী টেক industry এটা কইৰে সেই তাতে থকা লৰাছলে ঘৰ যদি 20-25,000 টকা দৰমহা পায় it is far better than what he is getting it is a win-win for all but then there is apart from the lowest segment where you working virtually doing manual labor you don't have entry of our boys and girls into this job
বিজয় চক্ৰৱৰ্তী বিশেষ একোৱে নকৰিলে বুলি আপুনি
একোৱে নকৰিলে
all right well this is your first contest apni মোক কলে অলপ আগতে the MP's job is to voice hetu aru ki what does an MP's job entail basically
I think the primary job of an MP is to speak and voice the concern because
agor MP bilake nokole kyo problem to ki mane ki language or
no I'll tell you the whole problem today with the political class in Assam amar andolon hoar pa amar inuko eta sam ahi gol je teoloke hokolu teoloke jibika their identity their income their entire existence is dependent on this cause it was by an accident they came doibokrome teoloke hakhon rahil
accidental politicians
ahi pelai tar bisot then thekane first instinct is self preservation which means that teoloke nijor arthik samarthya to teloka banabo lagibo teloka eko issue proti heri nai ekane apuni dekhibo ama political class to kiman dhoni hoy I mean this is ridiculous moi just sao you see as a lawyer I have not done too poorly abdar 5 বছৰ মোৰ অলপ income কমিলে because I have not worked much but you know even then পইচা এটা ঘটিবলে কিমান তা আৰু কিমান সহজে তেনকে যি অপৰ্যাপ্ত পইচা খৰচ কৰে তেনকে যেতিয়া সেই ধৰণে তেনকে পইচা খৰচ কৰে otherwise from the job as a politician then the first sacrifice is that of the cause সেইকাৰণে আজিলৈকে হেতু যেতিয়া হয় therefore this lack of sincerity and lack of competence because আজি দিনত কি হৈছে today the voter is more qualified than the candidate because amar hazira kara manu ejono ratiba 9 pa 6 lake kosto kori paisa gotise nijor eta responsibility amar ejon kunu ejon politician kune kosto kori 9 pa 6 lake ke jana 10 ta 10 ke beshi nulabe 10 ta thakile ma bahut bili kom ratiba 9 pa 6 lake kosto kori toka paisa goti nijor jibika teonoke tar pa নিৰ্বাহ কৰে আৰু তেওঁলোকে নিজৰ ৰাজনীতিক তেওঁলোকৰ যোনটো পদৰ পৰা আছে তেওঁলোকৰ সেই আৰ্থিক
সহজলভ্য হৈছে সব so what does a job of an MP entail how would you sum it up
so the first job is to speak up in parliament because parliament is very serious it makes laws and we can make an effective voice for Assam on all our issues I think that will be my primary concern secondly public of course there are local issues everywhere in every constituency and there is a considerable amount of money which comes into the MP led fund which can be distributed effectively and I would like that to use that for addressing concerns of say the youth largely so we can have a youth center where you know we don't have career counseling for instance ajibla grosila ke nazane tenuke ki poribo
na jane
career counseling plus jobs into ami eta interface kori do our the industry jobs interface Guwahati thoka grosile iman kom dormat kyo chakori korba laga moi ei kotha to buji na moi eta jeta Delhi le ja airport Benetton ta salesman bilako kodu sales boys girls bilako 25000 taka dorma heke Benetton eke sales ya thoy ya 7000 taka dorma 8000 10000 taka khub dibo khub beshi ইমান কম দৰমহা কিয় হয় একেটাই আউটলেট সেলস ইয়াত বেছি হ'ব কিন্তু যোনখন ইয়াত বেনেটনৰ আউটলেট থাকিব বা তেনেকুৱা থাকিব এৰসম মার্কস এন্ড স্পেন্সাৰ থাকিব মলস আছে তেওঁলোকৰ গোটেই নৰ্থ ইষ্টৰ মানুহ ইয়াতে বজাৰ কৰিবলৈ আহে তেওঁলোকৰ সেলস ইয়াতকে বেছি হ'ব why are our salary structures low আৰু এটো মই দেখিছো আমাৰ লেবাৰ ৰাইটছৰ আমাৰ বহুত মানুহৰ শ্ৰমিকৰ ক্ষেত্ৰতো বহুত তেওঁলোকে ডিপ্ৰাইভ হৈছে এতিয়া আগতে যি আমাৰ শ্ৰমিকৰ তেওঁলোকৰ অধিকাৰ আছিল সকলোৱে সুৰক্ষিত কৰিছিল কিন্তু I have found and my to horror that today আজিকালি মানুহক appointment letter নিদিয়ে মানুহক আজিকালি provident fund নিদিয়ে termination without dues হৈ যায় and this is the going thing I mean why cannot someone take care of it this is because the whole political system has become rotten today politicians across the board across the spectrum from all parties they rely on money and they rely on flattery and they rely on various means of pleasing the high command it's a top down approach not bottom up raizor hohari to ticket poa kana provision noy upor pa tukhamadi korate dorkar ticket eta loi lobo dui phalor pa tini phalor pa ami jete eke dhoroner prakti pam teta মানুহে তো চয়েস না করে যা কম বেয়া পায় কেন কক ভোট দিবে
Give me one project, requirement or need in each assembly constituency that would mean its significant development in the next 5 years. Okay? Right. Boko.
There has to be training of the local youth to enable Boko and Soigao and Palakhbari my ekelege kom because Palakhbari khon eta smart city hobole goi ase Palakhbari khon jodi smart city hoy tar pa jontu economic potential hobo because so much of money is budgeted we should use that the resource and the projects which will come out of that smart city and industry for training the youth in that entire belt Palakhbari, Soigao, Boko, Dudnoi take a Kuroi. Dudnoi in fact is resource wise very rich. There is an abundance of agriculture. Even the communities over there, the indigenous communities over there safeguard their interests very well. The Rabha Asam Autonomous Council Tenuka Nizo Tenuka Hokoluke সন্মিলিত ভাবে একগুট কৰি প্লাই তেওঁলোকে ৰাখিছে মই হেতু ভাল লাগিলে যে সকলো খিলঞ্জা যোনখিনি আছে আৰু দুধনৈ আৰু তেওঁলোকে নিজৰ জাগাও সেফগাৰ্ড খুব ভালকে কৰিছে কিন্তু দুধনৈ এফালে যদি গোৱালপাৰা আছে আৰু এফালে বকো আছে there is huge infiltration from suspected foreigners but Dudnoi people they have safeguarded themselves and it's a huge positive that's because the autonomous council I think is doing a fairly decent job of keeping the people together
so resource training
agriculture based amar hedi ase because tribals have their own because it's a largely tribal based community so they have herbs and medicinal herbs and the like so we can use that skill set to do some kind of marketing certainly over but I think that entire belt because Palakhbari jeta ekhon smart city ahe 30,000 40,000 50,000 crores of budget ahe 20 job 15000 koti taka there's huge amount of money the employment potential which comes out of it is huge actually amar Guwahati lorasali kono bahir Bangalore Delhi Bombay le jawar proyojon nai ami ahomar pa belek thai tu ahi sakori paba Guwahati lorasali ki nai eta sakori paba
okay
বৰক্ষেত্ৰী খনত ফ্লাড প্ৰোন হয় তাত আৰু আৰ্থিক ভাৱে কৃষি প্ৰধান হয় so you see সেইটো is a big challenge because তাত প্ৰত্যাহ্বান বহুত আছে কিন্তু তাত মই বুজি খসাই ক আৰ্থিক ভাৱে আটাইকে দুৰ্বল যদি মানুহখিনি আছে আৰু বেয়াও লাগে তাত মানে তেওঁলোকে বানপানী পা এফালে বৰপেটা পাটনকা প্ৰবজনৰ এটা হেৰিয়াটা প্ৰভাৱ এটা থাকে তো বৰক্ষেত্ৰী ৰাইজৰ কাৰণে যোনটো তেওঁলোকে কৃষি প্ৰধান হয় বৰভাগৰ ফালে অলপ অৱস্থা ভাল সেই কৃষি প্ৰধানত আমি এটা স্কিমছ বিলাক থাকে you see আমাৰ সমস্যাটো কি হয় centrally sponsored আজিকালি বহুত available schemes থাকে agriculture work self help groups say or whatever it is so those schemes I am sure can be used for benefit of those farmers and these are independent schemes so you know সেইবিলাক অলপ intermanage কৰিলে তো এটা মই সৰু এটা উদাহৰণ দিও ইউৰোপিয়ান ইউনিয়নে এটা ব্যাম্বু প্ৰজেক্ট কৰি আছে ব্যাম্বু প্ৰজেক্ট কি কৰি আছে তেওঁলোকে they are only enabling farmers
What Koreas?
They have to identify over the next 2 years 350 entrepreneurs for bamboo with seed. Now what they are doing in that project is that they will identify entrepreneurs and enable them to get all financial assistance seed capital lag ব্যবস্থা হয়ে যায় আমার কথা আছে কি আমার সেই ইন্টারফেস তো আনে and again it boils down to the fact that our leadership is so incompetent তেওঁলোকৰ কোনো এটা স্কিল সেট নাই তেওঁলোকে কেৱল সেই বাহু জুকাৰি গামোচা পিন্ধি তেওঁলোকে দক্ষতা কৰিলে আৰু তাৰ বাহিৰে তেওঁলোকে professional যেটা তেওঁলোকৰ কোনো কম্পিটেন্স থাকে আজি একানা আমাৰ ৰাজ্য এনেকুৱা দূৰ অৱস্থা আছে so I think my endeavor will also be to get onto a platform যোনখিনি আমাৰ diaspora আছে আমাৰ বহুতখিনি মানুহ অসমৰ বাহিৰত গুচি যায় দক্ষ মানুহ যায় তেওঁলোকক যদি আমি এখন মঞ্চ দিব পাৰোঁ লগতে ইয়াত থকা মানুহখিনি প্ৰফেশনাল খিনি হ'ব বহুত সমাজৰ কাম কৰিবলৈ মানে বিচাৰে কিন্তু এটা সময়ৰ পিছত যেতিয়া নিজৰ এটা মানুহে নিজৰ এটা সামৰ্থ্য হৈ যায় তেনে সমাজৰ কাৰণে সকলোৱে কৰিব আৰু অসমীয়া মানুহৰ এটা প্ৰবৃত্তি এটা আছে সমাজসেৱী
so এটা শব্দ ককচোন হাজত কি হলে ভাল মানে তাৰ
হাজত যোনটো ইলেকশন আছে লোকাল মানুহখিনি সৰি টুৰিজম আছে হাজত হে টুৰিজম পটেনশিয়ালটো ডেভেলপ কৰিবলৈ বিকজ religious tourism may hawk but at Brahmaputra khon usota ase religious tourism itself can be developed and
tourism okay Coming to the city, urban, half urban, Guwahati East, Guwahati West.
See, Guwahati East West and is basically at a metro বুলি কওঁ মানে তাৰ মই যোনটো কথা আগতে উল্লেখ কৰিলো পানীটোৱে এটা আমি rain water harvesting which I can do as an MP. I can go amongst communities, amongst flat holders and all of that houses that do simple rain harvesting water and shore up your ground water level. So initially যদি আমি ground water level বঢ়াই দিও এটা নৱেম্বৰত শুকুৱাতকে ডিসেম্বৰ বা জানুৱাৰীত শুকাব লাহে লাহে যদি বছৰ বছৰ কৰি যায় ৰিচাৰ্জ হৈ যায় তো আমাক এটা ডিপেন্ডেন্স কমি যায় so
rain water harvesting good.
Dispur actually Guwahati Metro Dispur or ekini pori jabo eta Dalikbari udhor aru kintu Dispur or Khunapura side jonto beltu ase hetu tar eta dangor samasya ase jonki tar janajati lok ase eta tribal manu telokok dangor project e tenok displace korise aru ei project bilak kebol telokor bahira manu aha bulia nohoy outside businessmen kintu ahise এই ফলে বা মানুহ আছে ধৰক গভৰ্নমেন্ট প্ৰজেক্ট বিলাক তেনেকৈ ডিসপ্লেস কৰি আছে সেইটো এটা বহুত ডাঙৰ কথা কিয়নো টিৱাই হয় বা কাৰ্বিয়া হয় দিস ইজ ভেৰি স্মল কমিউনিটি সেইবিলাক কমিউনিটিজ যেতিয়া আপুনি এটা জায়গাৰ পৰা আপুনি ডিসপ্লেস কৰি দিয়ে then you know they lose their identity because in a small ethnic community can survive তেনেকৈ survival to ensure কৰিব যেতিয়া only when they stay together সংগঠিতভাৱে তেওঁলোকে একাঠাইত থাকে তেওঁলোকে যেটা সংগঠিতভাৱে একাঠাইত নাথাকে তেওঁলোকৰ সংস্কৃতি বা অস্তিত্ব বা পৰিচয়ৰ পৰা তেওঁলোকে বিচ্ছিন্ন হৈ যায় এইটো সেইকাৰণে এটা মই ভাবো খুনাপুৰ বেল্টৰ এটা ডাঙৰ সমস্যা এটা খুনাপুৰ বেল্টে নহয় খুনাপুৰৰ পৰা সম্পূৰ্ণ জাগিৰোডলৈকে কিন্তু আটাইতকৈ যদি প্ৰথম ভুক্তভোগী হৈছে প্ৰব্ৰজনৰ পূব পাকিস্তানৰ পৰা পূব বেংগলৰ আমাৰ তিৱাসকলে লালুংসকলে হৈছে দেৱদী অঞ্চলৰ ডিসপ্লেস নগাঁৱলৈ তেওঁলোকৰ পাহাৰলৈ খেলি
Right, thank you very much, Upamanyu Hazarika. Here's wishing you all the very best for your candidature, and thank you for joining me on In Conversation with Swapnil Bharali.